Hello and welcome to Prudent IAS, one-stop solution for all the competitive exams. Today our topic is from GS1, History, Foreign Travelers in Ancient India, Windows into the Past. So why we have chosen this topic is because in Prelims 2025 there was a question on a foreign traveler and therefore this topic has gained more relevance. Now today I'll be telling you about the exhaustive study of all the foreign travelers in ancient past. We will focus on the ancient India, not the medieval ones. How you need to make the notes, what all points you need to study while studying about each traveler, and what question might pop up in the mains. So we'll do some discussion, then I'll be telling you a sample model question and a sample model answer as well. Let's quickly just begin. In ancient India, when the written records were often religious or courtly in nature, foreign travelers offered independent, objective, and sometimes critical perspectives on the Indian society, governance, and religion. So this answers what is the need of studying about all these travelers, because they will offer insights about all these perspectives, society, governance, and religion, and these can be quoted while writing a number of answers in the mains exams. From Greek ambassadors to Chinese monks, their writings are vital in bridging the archaeological gaps and reconstructing India's ancient ethos. They didn't just write about the kings, war, but also about the ordinary people, the market, education, religion, social structures, etc., which made their accounts rich, and civilizational insights are also found in these accounts. Therefore, the importance of reading these accounts is manifold. And how you will read this is through a table-like structure for better understanding, for recalling the points in the better. We will discuss each in detail as well, but right now I'm just telling you the format. You can just make a table on one A4 paper and write all the travelers on one page. This will be easy in revision. This will be handy for revision while answer writing as well, for prelims as well, and all the facts will be at one place. Just give the parameters like traveler, what was the origin and nationality, approximate period, ruler or dynasty it visited, purpose, contribution, and what were the key works or notes. Now question might pop up on these topics in the prelims, and how the question might come in mains, this we will look in the upcoming slides. I'll just read out once for you. Megasthenes, Greek origin, late 4th century BCE, Chandragupta Maurya during the Mauryan dynasty. He was a diplomatic envoy, ethnographic account, and Indica is lost, but as known that the Indica was the key work of Megasthenes. So in the similar fashion, you are going to understand all these topics. Now we'll come one by one and understand what it meant by the diplomatic visits, what all interlinkages can be established. So I hope you can even take a screenshot if you want. These are Megasthenes, Demachus, Strabo, Pliny the Elder, Ptolemy, Paheen, Huinsang, and Itzing. There were some in the medieval period as well, like Ibn Battuta, Al-Biruni, but they are in the medieval. So we'll focus more on the ancient. You can take the screenshot for this as well. Now let's discuss each in some detail. So we'll section the travelers under headings like their origin. The Greek and Roman accounts first. Megasthenes, what was the year? 302 BCE, the first ethnographer of India. So these terms can be used while writing the exams. What was the significance? That he is often said as a first ethnographer of India. Why? First, he was sent by Seleucus first Nicator to Chandragupta Maurya's court. So the origin, who sent him and to whose court he visited. Then we'll understand his major work, that was Indica, which is originally lost but known through the later Greek writers like Arrian, Strabo, and etc. So it's important that whenever you read about these foreign travelers, there can be some scope for biasness, some misinterpretations. So they are not free, because see, Indica is originally lost, and through the sub-writers we have come to know about the facts about Indica. But still, what were the highlights? It describes Patliputra as a massive fortified city with a moat and wooden houses. So a key point about the city, that is the infrastructure and society we are getting. It mentions a 7-class division, that is the priest, soldier, farmer, artisan, herdsman, magistrates and spies. All these are extremely important while writing the answers. Notes absence of slavery, possibly misunderstood caste-based servitude. Mentions a well-organized spy system and administrative machinery. While writing any answer about the present context, you can start from right here, from ancient India, that as per Megasthenes, he mentioned that there was a spy system. So we had a very well developed spy system even in the ancient period during the Mauryan times. The relevance is, it corroborates with Arthashastra, which shows the early bureaucratic governance. Of course, now not just one source, but as per Arthashastra also we had a developed spy system. So it is also established that yes, there was a spy system under the Mauryan system. Next is Dimachus and Dionysius. Now he was sent by Seleucus to Bindusara's court, and Dionysius was sent by Ptolemy to Philadelphus from Egypt to a Mauryan successor. Now there is not much about the works are already lost, but how is this important? Because their missions indicate the strong Indo-Hellenistic diplomatic ties and India's global stature. So often we are asked about a question that what were the trade relations of ancient India, diplomatic relations of ancient India, then you will mention about these travelers, that this establishes this, yes, we have certain connections with these eras. Second section is about the Chinese. So we learned about the Greek and Roman. Now we'll be coming towards the Chinese pilgrims. Monks on a sacred mission, because they were mostly monks. Fahin, 5th century CE. He visited during the reign of Chandragupta II, that is the Gupta era. Purpose was to collect Buddhist scriptures and study monastic discipline. Being a monk, so he was mainly for the Buddhist scripture and monastic discipline. His route was, he entered via Gobi Desert, then Patliputra, Lumbini, Sri Lanka, and returned by the sea. Again, some insights about the map. What were the key observations made by Fahin? He describes peaceful Gupta rule, light taxation, and high moral values of the people. This can be used while writing the answer. Again, the system of taxation was there, the values of the society, the people was very high. Found flourishing Buddhist centers like Takshila, Nalanda and Mathura. While in reading about Buddhism, you can quote these and the centers as well. He notes that caste discrimination, especially against the Chandalas, the untouchables, was also present. So there was a caste system as per Fahin. And what were the who were the Chandalas? They were the untouchables. What is the relevance? It was the first non-Indian account of Gupta administration, Buddhist practice and social exclusion. So this gave a deep insight about the administration, society and Buddhism. So very important to understand the Indian society. Next up is Hyuntsang, 7th century CE. He visited during the reign of Harshvardhan. Purpose was to study Nalanda and collect the Buddhist texts. Again, a monk on a mission. Stayed in India for 16 years. Highlights were that the detailed description about the Nalanda University are driven from the Hyuntsang's account. More than 10,000 students, 100 teachers, entrance test, patronage by Harsha. So, in the education, writing about essays in education, any topic, you can always quote these sources that right from the time of Nalanda University, we had such a developed educational system. Praises Harsha's rule as benevolent and organized. Notes the decline of Buddhism in some regions, rise of tantric sects and the dominance of Brahmanism. Mentions the caste rigidness, public hygiene, pilgrim centers and city life. So a number of dimensions are found in the account of these travelers. Relevance is a treasure trove for cultural and educational history of the early medieval India. So most important is of course the educational aspect. Then about the cultural part is mainly the rise of the tantric sects. So this is how you are going to study about each traveler. He visited, who was he sent, from whom, from where he came, which court he visited, what was the purpose, the duration, and the highlights. Then the relevance part will be used in the answer writing. Then comes Itzing, that is 7th century CE, came after Huinsang, focused on monastic court, Sanskrit, Pali grammar and customs, spent over 10 years at Nalanda. Now Nalanda even welcomed the Chinese monks, so even the foreign students were present at Nalanda. His works are more monastic manuals than travelogues, helpful for understanding Buddhist rituals and linguistic scholarships. So now in the section 3 we will discuss the themes for the travelers. This is from where a question might pop up in the mains, how you are going to link it. First is about the education and universities, as already mentioned, about Nalanda, described by Huinsang, Itzing as one of the world's oldest universities. Then subjects: Buddhist philosophy, medicine, logic, grammar, astronomy. We even get insights about what subjects were taught. And look at the diversity of the subjects. Such was our Nalanda University. Then the religion and philosophy. Foreigners observed tolerance among various sects like Buddhism, Brahmanism and Jainism. Documented the decline of Buddhism and shift toward the ritualistic Hinduism. So we are gradually looking at what were the developments throughout these periods. Then economy and trade. Noted market regulation, system of taxation, guild-based production, international trade via land and sea, very important. Observed use of punched mark coins, weighing system and merchant network. So a trade and economy was also very well established, and we even had international trade. Society and caste, it consistently mentioned the Varna system. Detailed documentation of untouchability, especially Fahim and Huinsang. Women role appears limited in their accounts, especially in the public religious life. Now, when the question might come about the role of women in society, right from the historical context, you can start from here. That from this traveler, about the observation which he made, and you can start writing about the answer. Today, the model question which we'll answer today is: accounts of foreign travelers in ancient India are invaluable historical sources, yet not entirely reliable. Critically evaluate. Now, this is more of an analytical question, and such questions might pop up in the mains examination. So, the keyword, directive word here is critically evaluate. In the directive word series, I have already mentioned, whenever you ask to critically evaluate, then you will tell about both the positives as well as the negatives. Here, what are going to be the positives? That yes, they are invaluable historical sources, what all information they are giving, and what are the negatives, that why they are not entirely reliable. So as I always say, just pause this video and write an answer yourself. This is going to be a 15 mark 250 word answer. You can either send us your answers in the Telegram group Answer Writing by Prudent IAS, or when I'll be discussing the answer in the upcoming slides, just do some self-evaluation. Coming to the model answer, because it's a 15 mark question, the introduction will be 30 up to 25 to 30 or 30 to 35 words, but not more than this. Foreign travelers such as Megasthenes, Fahim, Huinsang visited India across different periods, providing external, often first-hand observations on Indian polity, society, religion and culture. Their accounts are vital for reconstructing ancient Indian history, complementing indigenous sources like inscriptions, Puran, archaeological findings. So in the first part, in the introduction, as I mentioned the 7-second rule in the video, answer writing strategy video, we are trying to engage the examiner. How we are going to do that? We will mention as many travelers as possible, that yes, we have a good hold. We will tell about the significance and how they are vital for restructuring the ancient Indian history. If it was a 10 mark question, we would have written just one line, but since it's a 15 mark, we can use 2 to 3 lines in the answer. Just focus on how the sentences are framed, and day by day, you will also start writing like these points. Coming to the body, you are not supposed to write these. I have just mentioned this for your understanding. We'll use the basic heading subheading format. You can use any structure, just make sure they are neat and following all the parameters as mentioned in the answer writing strategy video. Valuable historical insight. So first we will, because this is a critically examined question, we'll tell about all the positives, that how they offer a invaluable source. You have two options. Either you can write the topic, for example, the theme which we studied in section 3, or you can go traveler by traveler, whichever feels feasible for you. So we have chosen the easier way, that is traveler. First we'll write about Megasthenes, then Fa-Hin and Hwinsang. Under each, we have already done the discussion. I'll read out just one for you to understand how to phrase that content in the answers. Megasthenes, we have mentioned the time period. Very important to add as many facts as possible to enrich the quality of the writer. He described the Chandragupta Maurya administration, Patliputra, urban planning, and a 7-fold caste division. His work Indica offers a rare contemporary glimpse into the Mauryan governance. So we have clearly mentioned about the major highlights and the Mauryan governance. For Fa-Hin, in the same manner, and for Hwinsang. When we were studying in the slides were at least 2 to 3 line, 4 line, 5 line, but here we are summing up that in just 1 line. So focus that we are mentioning all the key points. For example, in Fa-Hin, the year is mentioned. He documented the Gupta Empire's prosperity. So the traveler, the year, the time, the reign during which he visited was the Gupta Empire. The highlights, the Buddhist monist practices, caste discrimination, emphasizing the social conditions and religious tolerance. All keywords, key terms are mentioned using comma and. Same for Hwinsang, and these accounts supplement the archaeological evidence in Indian texts which help us fill the gaps in history. We have mentioned about Nalanda University and the details in just one bracket, so that the word limit is also not exhausted. Because we'll have to address other dimension, which is the limitations and reliability issues. These are the negatives, the negative side, that we have some limitations and reliability issues. Heading is self-explanatory. Then you will write again in the point structure, flowchart, etc. Cultural bias and misinterpretations, lost original transmission errors, exaggerations and selective focus. Look at the choice of words. You have just, I was telling about just 2 points, which were that there is scope for misinterpretation, right? And there is some scope for biasness. But here we have devised 4 points out of these. First is, which we were studying, that most of the texts are already lost and therefore there will be problems in the transmission. Second is the biasness, as already mentioned, the misinterpretations. Third is it might be even exaggerated, because they might, some descriptions of the city sizes and numbers are seen, often found as exaggerations. And then the selective focus. Many travelers focused on religion or elite and neglecting the broader population reality. So there is the scope of these limitations. In the lost originals and transmission errors, I'll read it out for you. Megasthenes Indica survives only in fragments quoted by later authors. As already mentioned, that it is lost, and whatever knowledge we have is because of the later authors. Therefore, there are increasing chances of distortion. Under cultural bias and misinterpretation, the 7-caste system differs from the traditional Verne model, possibly due to the misunderstanding. See, he was a foreign traveler, not very well aware about the Indian system of society, so he would have misunderstood the system as well. Fa-Hin's Buddhist perspective might bias his social descriptions, because the Chinese foreign travelers were mainly the monks, so they have certain picture in mind, and as per their picture they would have written the text. So we cannot rely 100% on these sources, but yet they offer a very invaluable insights. This is how a mains answer can be written from these travelers. A conclusion is very important to sum up the whole answer. Foreign travelers' accounts are indispensable, independent sources that enrich our understanding of ancient India. So we have mentioned the relevance then. However, due to inherent bias, partial perspectives and textual limitations, these narratives require critical evaluation alongside archaeological and indigenous records to reconstruct a balanced and reliable history. Now, very important to note here is, again, the choice of words. For conclusion, I have always mentioned, just write some significance. If there is another dimension, that is the limitation. And then a balanced way forward. If you have already mentioned about these two and it is a 10-mark question, then you can directly jump to the balanced way forward. If there is a scope for suggestion, you can do that. Here, we have mentioned the significance that yes, there are independent indispensable sources, but there are certain limitations. Now, limitations are already mentioned in the previous slide, right? All the 4 points. We have mentioned these in very key points like biasness, partial perspective, and textual limitations. These are the terminology which you need to have a good hold on, and this will come by daily answer writing. Just note down all these terms and start using these terms in the answer. For writing a good answer, you need not to have a very good hold on vocabulary, but certain terms must be incorporated because the competition is huge and I want my students to write a really good English answer with good language proficiency as well. So these narratives require, now what is the way forward that we are suggesting? Critical evaluation along with our indigenous sources, because of course we'll prefer our sources over the foreign traveler sources, and then we can reconstruct a balanced and reliable history. You can choose 1 or 2 types of conclusions and that can be rephrased on multiple topics. So that's it for today. A very interesting topic. I hope you had a clear picture now. Now just subscribe our channel Prudent IAS for more such informative videos and join our Telegram group Answer Writing by Prudent IAS. We'll be back with another interesting video super soon. Thanks for watching.